Time for the truth, my mom announced, tapping her glass like she was about to toast my future. We adopted her to cash in on her. Laughter rippled across the backyard. My sister didn't even try to hide hers. My dad leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, a slow smirk settling on his face like he'd been waiting for this moment. I felt every eye shift toward me. Hi everyone, my name is Delaney. It was my graduation party. The banner still hung crooked behind them. Congrats, Delaney. Gold letters shimmering in the late afternoon sun. Scholarships, donations, sympathy. My mom continued, smiling brightly. Best investment we ever made. A few guests laughed awkwardly, unsure if this was humor or confession. I stood slowly, not because I was embarrassed, because I had been expecting this. I reached into the inside pocket of my jacket and pulled out a sealed envelope. Funny, I said evenly, my voice steady despite the heat crawling up my neck. I brought some truth too. My sister rolled her eyes. My dad's smirk deepened. They thought I was about to cry. Instead, I broke the seal carefully and began reading aloud. I'd like to thank my parents, I began, holding the paper steady, for teaching me the value of documentation. The room went quiet. My mom's smile flickered, just slightly. This, I continued, lifting the first sheet, is a copy of the adoption subsidy agreement you signed 17 years ago. A few guests shifted in their chairs. My sister let out a scoff. So what? So, I said calmly, it outlines the monthly payments you received for my care. Federal support, education stipends, health care credits. My dad straightened in his seat. That's private, he muttered. I ignored him. It also includes a clause requiring those funds be used directly for the child's benefit. A breeze caught the banner behind me. I pulled out another document. And this, I added, is a record of where that money actually went. My mom stood abruptly. Enough. But I didn't stop. Mortgage payments, vacation deposits, my sister's private school tuition. Murmurs began spreading across the backyard. My sister's laughter had disappeared. I folded the first paper carefully. I didn't come here to embarrass you, I said evenly. I came here to correct you. My dad's smirk was gone now, and the celebration had already started unraveling. My mom stepped toward me, her heels digging into the grass. You're twisting numbers, she said sharply. We gave you a home. I held her gaze. You gave me a receipt. The silence thickened. Guests avoided eye contact, pretending to study their drinks. My aunt cleared her throat, but didn't intervene. No one wanted to pick a side. They just hadn't expected paperwork. I was a child. I continued, my voice steady. You were reimbursed for raising me. That's not generosity. That's a contract. My sister crossed her arms. You're being dramatic. I reached into the envelope again. I also brought something else, I said. This time, I didn't read it immediately. I let the anticipation sit. My dad finally stood. Sit down, Delaney. No, I replied softly. The second document wasn't government issued. It was from my university's legal clinic. 3 months earlier, I had requested a review of financial filings attached to my name. The results were precise. Funds misallocated, reporting discrepancies, potential fraud. I already spoke to an attorney, I said calmly. The backyard didn't just go quiet. It went still, and my mother's face drained of color. Put that away, my dad said, his voice low and controlled now. The smirk was gone. In its place was something colder. I didn't move. The filings tied to my name were audited. I continued. They show education grants that were never applied to my tuition. My sister looked between them, confusion replacing arrogance. What is she talking about? My mom's hands trembled slightly. You're misunderstanding how these programs work. I'm not, I replied evenly. I had the numbers reviewed. A glass clinked somewhere behind us as someone set it down too hard. You would report your own parents? My dad asked quietly, as if the concept itself offended him. I met his eyes. You reported my existence as income. The words landed heavier than I expected. This was supposed to be a celebration. My mom snapped, desperation creeping into her tone. "You're ruining it." "No," I said softly. "You did." I pulled out the final page from the envelope. "This is a notice of inquiry," I explained. "It hasn't been filed yet." My sister blinked. "Yet." I folded the page carefully. I wanted you to hear it from me first. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was calculating. And for the first time, they were the ones on display. My dad took a step toward me, lowering his voice so only I could hear. "You wouldn't survive without us." It wasn't a threat. It was habit. I held the envelope against my chest. I already did. His jaw tightened. Around us, guests began standing slowly, some pretending to check their phones, others whispering carefully behind raised hands. The celebration had shifted into something observational. "You think you're morally superior now?" my mom asked, her composure cracking. "No," I said calmly. "I think I'm legally aware." My sister finally looked uneasy. "This is insane." "It was just paperwork." "It was my name," I corrected gently. My dad exhaled sharply. "If you file that notice, you'll destroy this family." I studied him for a long moment. "You destroyed the idea of it first." The words didn't come from rage. They came from recognition. I had spent years excelling quietly, top grades, scholarships, internships, because I thought achievement would convert into belonging. Instead, it converted into revenue. I slid the notice back into the envelope. "I'm not filing anything tonight," I said. Relief flickered across their faces. "But I'm not protecting you either." And that difference terrified them more. The guests left in clusters, polite smiles stretched thin over curiosity. No one said goodbye to my parents. A few hugged me gently on their way out. "I'm proud of you," my professor whispered. "Not for graduating, for standing." When the yard finally emptied, only the four of us remained. The banners still hung behind them, gold letters catching the fading light. "Congrats, Delaney." My mom sank into her chair slowly. "What do you want?" she asked, the fight drained from her voice. It was the first honest question of the evening. "I want the truth," I said. "You heard it," my sister muttered bitterly. "No," I replied calmly. "Not the performance version." My dad rubbed his forehead. "We struggled," he said. "The adoption payments helped. That's not a crime. Misreporting how they were used is," I answered gently. He looked at me carefully now, not as a child, not as an investment, as a risk. "We gave you opportunities," my mom said softly. "You monetized them," I corrected. The silence stretched again. Finally, my dad asked the question they'd avoided all night. "If you're not filing, what are you going to do?" I met his eyes without blinking. "I'm leaving." And this time, it wasn't emotional. It was strategic. "Leaving?" my sister repeated, like the word didn't compute. "Yes," I said calmly. "I've already accepted a position out of state." That part wasn't new. The offer had come 2 weeks ago. I had signed it the same day I printed the audit results. "You're running," my mom said weakly. "No," I replied. "I'm relocating." There was a difference. My dad studied me carefully. "And the notice?" "I'll let the agency decide what to do with the discrepancies," I answered. "I'm not filing additional complaints. I'm simply not retracting anything." Which meant the inquiry would continue on its own. My sister looked stunned. "You'd really let them investigate?" "They already are." The backyard felt smaller now. The celebration table half cleared. Paper plates bending in the evening humidity. For years, I believed confrontation required shouting. It didn't. It required documentation and timing. My mom's voice trembled. "We're your family." I looked at the house behind them, the one subsidized in my name. "You are my guardians," I corrected softly. The distinction cut deeper than anger ever could. I picked up my purse. "This was never about revenge," I added. "It was about ownership." And for the first time, they understood I wasn't their asset anymore. I walked toward the gate slowly, heels sinking slightly into the grass where guests had stood hours earlier pretending this was a celebration. "Delaney," my mom called after me. I paused, but I didn't turn around. "We did love you," she said, her voice smaller now. I let the words sit in the air between us. Maybe, I replied quietly, but you loved what I provided more. No one argued. Not my dad. Not my sister. Because they knew the difference too. The investigation moved forward without my interference. I didn't make speeches online. I didn't post dramatic updates. I packed my apartment, accepted my new position, and redirected my mail. 3 months later, I received a letter. The inquiry had resulted in repayment agreements and penalties. Not prison. Not destruction. Accountability. I folded the letter and placed it inside the same envelope I had opened at my graduation party. Proof. Not of revenge. Of reality. I didn't hate them. I just stopped financing the version of me they invented. And when I walked into my new office on my first day, no one there knew my adoption story. They only knew my credentials. For the first time, I wasn't someone's investment. I was my own return.